there's a benefit to being in a city, whether you're a kid or an adult. There's definitely a benefit. The negative part is this depreciation of value of life. People, there's so many people, you don't think of them as being as important. They're a hindrance as much as they are like a nice thing to see.
Yeah. Well, there's so many homeless people too. And there's a homeless woman who basically stands on my corner and just begs for change every day. And my son was with me the other day, and this woman, she's like, "Hey, do you have any money for a sandwich?" And I was like, "No, sorry, I don't today." And I keep on walking. And then I looked down at my son, and he's like, "Ted, that's really sad. She doesn't have money for a sandwich." And I'm like, she asks every fucking day, James. Every day she asks. Okay, I can't. And I had to explain to him. I was like, well, look, I can't give her money every single day. And I was like, you know what? I do have $1 though. I was like, why don't we go back and give her $1? And then he was like, no, I get it now. And we walked. I swear to God, he stopped me from giving her the $1.
Well, if the world was just one, if there was only one person like that, that was the only issue. Just one lady, just needs some help. You'd be, we'll just help her.
Yeah.
But when there's a million of them, you're like, well, I can't help her. I just can't do this. I got to keep going. I got to concentrate on my own shit.
Yeah.
And that's a microcosm of what happens in a city.
Yeah.
If that lady was in a small town, she would be the crazy beggar lady. People would probably figure out a way to help her.
They give her
out.
cans.
They do something.
Yeah.
Some people, the problem is just like some humans, when you give them that as an option, just begging. Like there's guys who do it, and there was a whole when I lived in San Francisco, there was a news report thing about this guy who was doing it for a living. He was making
a lot of money.
A lot of money, man.
Yeah.
He's just begging, and he was essentially saying there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally legal, and I just make up stories and have people donate money to me, and I think of it as like an occupation. So it was weird listening to him talk about it because he was telling this lady who was the reporter lady, he was telling her how she could do it too, and how he was doing it and how he shows people how to do it. But he was making like a decent living, like
a couple $100 a day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't remember because I was a kid, but I remember listening like, oh, this motherfucker, he's just faking it.
I don't, in a weird way, I appreciate the hustle. Look, I watched my mom on welfare. I remember as a kid watching my mom collect a welfare check and sit in the room, smoke cigarettes and not work. And I remember as a little kid being like, that's not right. I was like, what are you doing? Just work. Yeah. Do something else. We could be in a better situation. Just from way too young having that thought. Okay.
Right.
But in a weird way, I appreciate the guy's hustle. He's figured out a way to thrive.
Sort of.
It's nothing to be proud of, he shouldn't be bragging about it, but at the same time, like, it's just a different system. It's a different game. If you disconnect from sort of like, whatever he's
a con artist. There's never a good thing having someone who's lying to everybody all the time.
I appreciate a good con artist. I really do.
They're boring.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's boring. It's boring. Just figure it out, stupid. Stop lying to people.
Aren't they figuring out something different, though?
They're just finding lemmings. That's all they're doing. They're finding lemmings. They're finding people that don't know any better. People that, what's 3-card money? Come on, I'll show you.
Well, that's sort of what the homeless lady is doing. Look, I've been in New York City since 2001. I'm so desensitized to homeless people that there's no part of me that feels bad. I just will walk on. Sorry, can't, keep on going. But what happens is they're looking for the person who moved there a week ago. They're looking for the tourist. They're looking for the person who...
They're looking for nice people.
And they're there. So it's sort of like that's...
But that's not the same thing. Like that lady might just be crazy. She's not a con artist. Con artists are people lying and pretending that, listen, my car broke down. My wife and kid haven't had anything to eat in 24 hours, and I'm really in a bad situation. I would never do this, but I just ask you if you could just give me $5. And the guy says, oh, yeah, man, sure. I'm sorry. Here's $5. Next person, hey, man, I need to go take this flight to see my mom. She's dying of cancer.
Well, that'll change it. Usually they have the same story.
Canceled, and they'll change it all the time, man.
Well, I had a guy do that to me in New York when I first moved there, and this guy, he was wearing a suit. Young white guy wearing a suit. He was like, dude, I missed my bus back home. I was here for a job interview. I'm just trying to get money for a bus ticket back home. And I was like, oh, here's a couple bucks, whatever. And then the next day in Union Square, same fucking kid, same suit, same story, because they learn it like a sales pitch.
Right.
So they know the beats of it. They know exactly what to say. You see it on the subway, when they get on the subway, they have an actual script. So it's like, I don't mean to beg, but my wife is blah, 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 blah. And you see them every day going down the cart, and if you've ever done a sales job, a good sales script is pretty good. You're just sort of fishing. You're playing the numbers. You're instead of sort of adding emotion to it and changing the story and doing all these different things and putting too much thought into it, you go, I'm just going to run this script and close 1 out of 20 people that walk by.
Stupid.
Yeah, no, it's not.
The only benefit is that you grow up around people that are full of shit and you learn how to spot people that are full of shit. It's the only benefit. Other than that, it's just annoying.
I agree with you, but I also can appreciate it. I can appreciate a good hustler. I appreciate
Good hustler goes out and gets a fucking job. You don't just lie to people everywhere with some stupid story about how you missed your bus. Get your shit together, pussy. Stop mooching money from people. That's gross.
Well, what about
gross.
What about a guy who sells his CD on the street? That's maybe
a little bit different because he's offering something. He has his art.
Nobody got a CD player.
Nobody's
do now.
Got a CD player. I do with that laptop. I got a refurbished laptop.
We had this guy in Columbus. You sort of reminded me. I completely forgot about him. He was known as the rapping bum, or Help Is on the Way for like 15, 20 years at Ohio State. This guy'd be on the High Street, which is like the main strip, and he had all these rhymes he would constantly go to. It always ended with "Help Is on the Way," but I don't remember a lot of them. But
he always said "Help Is on the Way."
He ended it was like his punchline, like "Help Is on the Way." He had T-shirts made about him. I think someone actually recorded him at one point in like 2005 or 6. But
you remember when they found that homeless dude that had that crazy radio voice?
Yeah, that was in Columbus too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he got a job, right? I think somebody gave him a job.
Went right back to the
He
pipe.
fucked it up.
Yeah, he fucked it up.
Yeah.
Well, you don't fix people, man. You can't fix them like that.
That voice was fire, though.
It's a very good voice.
He had a great voice.
Radio voice.
He got a lot
Silky
of gigs too.
Smooth.
Yeah.
And he just wound up going right back to being a homeless person, right?
Well, it's not, this is going to sound very insensitive, but most of the time it's not bad luck.
Right.
It's sort of the decisions you make. And I'm not saying that you can't have a bad situation and you can't, there is bad luck in the sense that some people are born into, affluent households and some people are born into poverty. But
this is him?
Yeah, this is him.
Let's hear it.
Nothing but the best of oldies. You're listening to Magic 98.9. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
He was a radio guy and
with
fell on
right
hard
after
times.
these words.
Yeah, and then he fell on. Well,
and don't forget, tomorrow morning is your chance to win a pair of tickets to see this man live in concert.
I have a theory. I think doing that for a living makes you fucking crazy. That's what I think. I think if you have that fake voice, eventually you just snap. I can't do this anymore. I can't talk like this. I can't have this fake voice. You just blow a fuse.